Hello, and welcome to What's Your Story? We have a super guest for you today. She's a very interesting woman. Her name is Jackie Adams, and she is an integrative hypnotist and a business coach. And she helps others to be seen, heard, and paid by maximizing the power of their subconscious minds. She is also the host of Subconscious CEO podcast and creator of the Higher Self Activation Method. Welcome, Jackie. So nice to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's so fun. I got to hear you recently. You were on the Women Thrive Summit at the same time that I was, and that was a wonderful experience for me. And I know that you said it was for you as well. I think everybody that participated in that came away feeling like what a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. It's just so refreshing to be in the presence of powerful women because I feel like we can all elevate one another and then spread that out to the rest of the world.
Yes, yes. You were telling me that there are some common misconceptions that people have about hypnosis. How do you address these misconceptions in your work?
Yeah. So when people hear the word hypnosis, a lot of times they have some associations with maybe stage hypnotists. I don't know. Have you ever seen those shows? You live in
Yes,
Vegas, so
I
of
live in
course.
Vegas. I've seen them, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're on the streets, and a lot of times that's the image that hypnosis gets, or using the pendulum swinging in front of you. And a lot of people think that you can get stuck in hypnosis, or all sorts of these myths or things that have been said. And honestly, there are so many different ways to practice hypnosis. And essentially, to me and to a lot of others, hypnosis is essentially going into a state of deep relaxation and removing the layers of like the conscious mind, all the chatter that we have in our brains, especially as women. I don't know if you do, but my brain is always chattering at me. Does yours? And so we just remove those layers, and it's kind of like very similar to going into a state of prayer or meditation. Those are words that I use when someone asks what it's like to be in hypnosis, because you're fully aware when I put someone under. And essentially, we're just really aligning the goal that you have outwardly and helping that subconscious mind to work with you so that you're on the same level. You have them working together, because your subconscious mind is really the controller of about 95% of all your habits, patterns, programs that are running. So those are kind of the main misconceptions that I talk about, but there's plenty out there.
Oh, I'm sure there are. Can you explain what it means to activate your higher self and how tapping into this aspect of ourselves can lead to profound shifts in mindset, behavior, and ultimately success?
Yes. So the term your higher self, I think that gets used in a lot of different ways. To me, the higher self means it's the part of you that has reached your full potential. It's the energy where you can fully come alive and step into your own power. I think a lot of us play small for other people's comfort, and we don't truly uh, apply ourselves or take all the steps needed in order to reach our full potential. So when I talk about activating someone's higher self, what I do with my clients is I will get them into a state of deep relaxation and essentially light them up from the inside out and help them to believe that they are capable of all that they ever have wanted to achieve. And when you activate that within yourself, something happens. Your mind starts to go to work for you and finds the solutions that you didn't see previously in front of you, because we have so many loops running in the back of our subconscious minds constantly with self-doubt or just negativity. I can't do this. So when we can really not just suppress those, but heal those loops, put an end to those loops, and then step into that higher self, that inner power, you are then able to not only become that person, attract who you are, then find the actions necessary in terms of your thoughts, your language, your emotions, and the actions that you take so that you can start taking steps to achieving what you want.
Can anyone do this?
Yes, and actually the speech that I gave at the Women's Thrive Summit, I taught everyone how to perform self-hypnosis because that's a tool that I believe everyone should have and should be practicing every single day. And then if you want to take it a step further and hire a hypnotist, then that's like someone who can help tease out kind of like the traumas you've been through and put you under take you through all the techniques that they know, like me. But yes, self-hypnosis is completely possible, and it's not my goal to have clients to just start relying on me like they would rely on therapy for years and years. I want people to stop seeing me. I want people to go out there and be healed and continue their healing journey on their own if they choose.
So many people struggle with visibility, confidence, and financial success in their careers. How do you leverage hypnosis and coaching to help individuals overcome these challenges and truly step into their full potential?
Yes. So I generally work with entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurship I believe, is a form of self-development in and of itself, right? Because when you go into business for yourself, you really do have to step up and be really uncomfortable and put yourself out there, especially if you're coming from a day job, or like me, I have been a nurse for 15 years. So that is not a job where I was an entrepreneur. I was very uncomfortable with the idea of asking for a sale or sharing what I have to offer. These kinds of skills are kind of scary, and it can be scary to show up. And oftentimes when people get to the level of, okay, I want to start a business, I want to put myself out there, I want to show up on social media. Oh, I lost you. Are you there? So sorry.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So when people want to show up on social media, or they want to go to YouTube, start a podcast, it's like there's something in the back of their mind that stops them and says, oh, wait, I can't because I don't know what I'm doing. Or, oh, wait, I don't want to do this because there are already other people who are teaching this. So they would be better than me to share this message. Or, oh, wait, I don't want to show up because I don't want to take up space in this world. These are subconscious thoughts that we don't even know how to put into words oftentimes. So a lot of my work is centered around helping entrepreneurs to work through those habits and kind of get to the bottom of, why is it that you don't feel safe to be seen? Why is it that you don't feel worthy of putting your message out there, of sharing your story? And you, of all people, know how important it is to share a story.
Yes.
Because when we share our stories with others, those people listening can hear their own story reflected back to them, and then can really understand the true possibilities awaiting them on the other side if they are to take a step in the direction of their goals. So that's why it's so important to heal a lot of those inner wounds that are really just sitting there at a subconscious level, right? And be able to become visible, become more of yourself, put yourself out there and show the world who you are and what you've accomplished. And it's okay to be a little messy about it too, right? Because I don't know if you believe done is better than perfect, but I believe we have to make mistakes in order to learn. And a lot of times those mistakes will lead us to the next opportunity. And I really believe that also it's not always a mistake. And if you don't pull the lesson out of it, sure, it's a mistake. But otherwise, if you just keep going, you will become a better version of yourself and help others. That's really what it's about.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. I can think of so many times in my life when I've failed at something and I've thought, oh, that's just terrible that I failed. But the truth is, it kept me from making a bigger mistake of going another direction. That, it's, if we look back at things, they do happen for a reason. There's some reason that they do happen. So can you share a success story where someone utilized your methods to achieve remarkable results in their life?
Sure. Yeah. And honestly, there's a recent story I want to share that isn't even doesn't even have to do with being an entrepreneur or anything like that. It was someone that came to me and just kind of said, "Hey, I'm really terrified of going to the dentist." And they shared this story of when she was a little girl. This was like 60 years ago. She was a little girl and she had something happen to her that was very, very traumatic at the dentist and very embarrassing. And it caused a whole scene. And ever since then, whenever she even thought about going to the dentist or sat in the dentist chair, it would be this like physical reaction that she had no control over. Her body was reacting. She had emotions. Her heart was pumping. Her skin was tingling. It was just this fear all throughout her body on this loop. And essentially, what happens when you are traumatized in a moment like that is that trauma gets stored in your body. Your body takes a snapshot of what's happening around you in that moment. So if you're at the dentist chair, your body's like, "Oh my gosh, this is traumatic. I'm at the dentist. There's someone in a white coat. There's people all around me." So anything that has to do with everything in your external environment immediately, the senses, the smells, the tastes, the sounds, that is going to create a
Mhm.
trigger for the future, right?
Yes.
So in the future, even the thought of those senses are possibly going to put you back into that same emotion that you felt in that moment. So what I did for her, because she had an upcoming dental procedure that she absolutely had to have done, is I talked to her for really not even that long, like 10 minutes. And we went through the emotions that she felt in that moment, not really focusing on the story of what happened, because I don't believe you have to relive a traumatic event in order to heal it.
No,
A lot of times, reliving it can actually be more traumatizing.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I created a hypnosis recording, a customized one for her, and just essentially stripped the negative emotions associated with those triggers and then made new associations with what the triggers were going to be that she was going to experience. So attached more of like love, calm, relaxation with being at the dentist. And she listened to it 2 or 3 times before her procedure, and then when she left, she called me crying tears of joy because she was like, "That was the most relaxed I've ever been at the dentist. I have no idea how you did that." And I'm like, "You did it. You did it because you accepted those suggestions. You essentially told me what to suggest to you, and you accepted them, because we can't, if something is suggested to you in hypnosis that doesn't align with your goals, you're going to reject it." So she wanted to believe that, and she just didn't know how. And so it was really, really powerful. Just showed how simple it can be to just rewire your subconscious mind and get an instant result.
Yes. I believe a lot of people think that if they're hypnotized, someone else can control what they do. And you're saying that no, if it doesn't align with you, you won't do it. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't, there's really no such thing as mind control in terms of when someone is helping you through a therapeutic issue. It really does have to align. If someone's telling you something that you don't want to believe, your mind will just push it out.
Good to know that. Good to know that. Okay, now the big question. Will you share some practical tips or exercises that individuals can incorporate into their daily routine so that they tap into the power of their subconscious mind and enhance their professional lives? See, I need some of these, so I want you to share them if you will.
Yes, yes, yes. I'd be so happy to share. I believe the most powerful thing that you can do, anybody can do, is to utilize 100% of the 2 times of day that you are the most suggestible. Do you know what times those are?
Probably when you first get up or before you go to bed. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, that is correct. So that is when our brains are in what's called theta waves. And that wavelength is scientifically proven if you're science based. And also, if you are more on the spiritual spectrum of your belief system, it is when you are most connected to God or the universe. So, whichever way that you believe, these time frames, like the 10-15 minutes right as you're waking up and 10 to 15 minutes right as you're going to sleep, your mind is in like almost a dreamlike state, and it's very highly suggestible. So, whatever you put into your mind at those times a day, your mind goes to work like double, triple, quadruple overtime to integrate that into your belief system, part of your patterns, and your mind goes to work to find whatever it is that you're thinking of during that time. So if you're overthinking and you're worrying or you're scrolling on social media, you are kind of an atomic bombshell waiting to go off, right? Because you're just kind of like whatever you put in your mind is just kind of like whatever, and you're just going to kind of get whatever results. So if you can start utilizing that time to your advantage, and also not scrolling or not being on the blue light, the TV, the phone for that 15-minute period, at least. If you can extend it to an hour, that's even better. But that also shortens your theta wave length period. So if you're straight to your phone, you kind of shorten that window, and also it programs your mind to whatever you see on your phone. So I teach self hypnosis. I won't go through the whole thing because that would take me a little bit of time. However, even if you can just take a few deep breaths and get yourself into a state of relaxation or meditation or prayer, whatever you normally do to relax yourself physically, then if you can just start visualizing what it is that you do want to happen, or write down on a piece of paper. I have a lot of my clients go through their day, and if they have a negative thought pop in their mind, I'll have them say like, okay, well, what's the opposite of that? What do you actually want? And write that down in your notes app on your phone, or write it on a piece of paper, and that's going to be one of your affirmations for tonight. So keeping track of those affirmations, which are like the opposite of your negative thoughts, and then just repeating those to yourself over and over during that time once you are in that relaxed state. That is essentially self hypnosis. And that
Mm,
is helping you to program your mind for success and for the results that you want.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Does
So,
that
in
sound
other words,
doable to you?
uh,
Does that sound doable to you? That's something you
yeah, it
could do?
does, and it makes sense. You know, I for a long time I didn't understand why I had bad dreams at night, and then I realized that the last thing I did before going to sleep was watch crime stories on TV. You know, so probably I was programming those things into my mind, right? So,
Yeah, and I love crime stories. I'm not gonna give those up, but I do try to not watch them right before bed. I do my best to, and I
mhm,
like limit them because that is a guilty
yes.
pleasure.
Yeah, turn the TV. I need to actually turn the TV off early then, 20 minutes before rather than falling asleep with the TV on. That
Yes.
that makes that makes a lot of sense. I'm really glad you gave us that tip. I'm going to try it. And,
All right.
and then I'll be a much nicer person the next day. I won't want to kill anybody.
Right, and also if you're falling asleep with the TV on, you have no idea what's playing while you're asleep, and your mind is actually hearing that. Your subconscious mind is taking all of that in. So you're really leaving it up to chance with what's going to be playing. So if you're going to be playing something while you're sleeping, put on like a meditation on like a YouTube or something that you know is going to be programming you for your goal.
Oh, that's very good advice. That because I know sometimes I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and the TV is still going. So heaven only knows what I programmed during that time, right? Yeah.
Right.
So good advice. I feel really good, like I learned something today. So,
Okay.
is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think we should tell the audience? Something that maybe I missed and that you wanted to share, or did we get it all?
I got a lot of it. I just really believe that everyone is truly worthy of sharing their story, and they are truly worthy of taking up space in this world. And I think one message I would like to share with people is, because you mentioned perfectionism earlier, I think. And perfectionism is such a lie. It is such a moving target. It's not even real. And I feel like perfectionism is what holds so many of us back. It certainly held me back. I didn't really get into deeply into my story. However, it is what stopped me, where I stopped and started and stopped and started so many different of these entrepreneurship quests because I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to be professional right away. And that's just not how life works.
No.
If you put yourself out there, you try your hardest, you have the best intention, that's really what it's about, is your intention.
Yes.
And just keep going and pivoting until you feel like, okay, this feels in alignment with me. This feels in alignment with who I want to be and who I am.
Very good advice. Thank you. Having been a perfectionist most of my life and being very depressed when things didn't work out to be perfect, that's very good advice because you're right. You know, it's better done than perfect. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't get things done because we're trying too hard to be perfect. And
Yes.
so good advice. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie, for being here with us today. This has been incredible. You've been a wonderful guest, and I've learned a lot, and I'm sure my viewers have learned a lot. Could you tell my viewers about how they can reach you if they would like to know more about what you do, or maybe they want your services?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure. If people want to get a hold of me, I'm all over social media, primarily on Instagram. My handle is right here. It's at underscore it's Jackie Adams. And my website is also it's JackieAdams.com. And then I have a podcast called the Subconscious CEO Podcast. So you can find that on Apple or Spotify.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate having you as my guest.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. We have so many fascinating and wonderful and experienced and knowledgeable guests. And so I hope you'll just keep coming back every day to meet the people that we have on this show because there's so many fabulous people. And if you have a story that you'd like to share, contact me, Judy Morio at WWDBTV. Thank you.